And we should be on right about now. System's green. And are we on? Are we on? Are we on? Starting the stream. There we go. There we go. All right, we are on. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Ace of Vegas here. Hope you're doing well. Was running just a little late. Had had a work call, kind of slowed me down. Yeah, there we go. That's what happened. So that's my bad. Had kind of a last minute meeting that ran a little long, so that's my bad over there. Thanks for understanding, guys, and good to see everybody. How's everyone doing? All right, see, how's everyone doing? We got Triple Ripple, so we got Gordon in the chat, we got Cinnamon Girl over here, we got Kino, we got Muffy, we got Patrick, PJ in the house too, Pop-Up Fishing, Adam, Jen, Matrix. Oh, Matrix all the way from across the pond. Good to see everybody. All right. So, not sure if you could tell by the thumbnail here. Welcome aboard all of our first timers, by the way. Ron, I think I have seen you in the chat before. Dan, I have not. Glad that you made it in here. There is actually an article that I was reading, and it was from the Las Vegas Independent. The version I have is from the Reno Review Journal, and they decided to go ahead and make it a little it's been interesting. It's an interesting story. But here's what the headline is: Nevada's casinos and current events 19. Should they be open? It's complicated, experts say. So I really kind of wanted to make this kind of like an open-ended discussion about whether Nevada should be open right now, given, well, current events. Ty, welcome aboard. Glad you made it in here. Same with L&D Adventures. Good to see you guys. All right. So, and here, in summary, here's what we're looking at from the whole issue here. The biggest thing that people are concerned about, and it's been the same issue that everybody's had the entire time that we've had this pandemic and this quarantine and all that. It's a little bit of a weird catch-22. Should the casinos be closed? Should they be open? Now, everyone's been fighting kind of on both sides of the issue, and it's been really kind of difficult to figure out the best thing. Because on the one hand, you know, the economy is a thing. Capitalist society. We're a capitalist country. And, you know, you need companies running just to make everything work. People need their jobs to support their health insurance. So they have, resources to purchase food, that sort of thing there too. Should it be like that? I think that's a conversation for another video. But fact of the matter is, here in the United States anyway, you have a highly capitalist society, and having an economy closed is pretty devastating. On the other hand, we also do have a major health crisis here. Health infrastructure is not equipped to handle something of this scale, of this, this pandemic scale here. And that's a worldwide thing. It's not just an American thing, it's a worldwide thing. The healthcare system just isn't set up to support basically the entire planet getting sick and us potentially losing 1 to 3% of the population, depending on which expert you talk to, that sort of thing right there. So it definitely makes it kind of challenging there. You know what I mean? It's going to be kind of rough. So we're trying to figure out which way to go about it. I wanted to get everybody's opinion over here. Matrix current events. Think of something else whose initials are CV and add a 19. That's current events 19. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Oh, Jerry, there you go. Jerry's someone who actually works in current events right now. She's been putting in those long hours at the hospital, so don't forget to go ahead and, I guess if Steven would say, give her 28 likes over here, 28 thank yous for Jerry coming through and doing that, put in those extra hours at the hospital there. She's finally getting rebooked for her Vegas trip, and we're really happy to hear about that. So we're just kind of hoping that everything stays open in the meantime. So again, got this from Reno Gazette Journal over here. I really got it from Las Vegas Independent, but it's the exact same article, so that kind of makes things a little tough. We hear the rumors. There's certain things that have closed down. The bars have closed down in Las Vegas. That's pretty much it. Unless you're serving food, you're looking at some pretty closed bars right now. That's unfortunate. and people are really worried about the casinos shutting down, and they're really worried about it. Hey, VVI, glad you guys made it in here. Thanks for coming through. We're just getting into the article right now. I actually have a copy of the article here if you guys want to kind of skim along with it and let me know what your thoughts are in the live chat in the comment section down below. It's the one, the RJI. And Cinnamon's actually a little, and actually let me go ahead and just talk about what we're talking about a little bit in the live chat. Cinnamon's a little nervous that the casinos are going to close. Pop-Up is thinking the casinos will close, no way around it. Damn it, this sucks. So let's expand on that. So why would the casinos close right now? Well, again, fact of the matter is we're in the middle of a pandemic, and this disease, no matter the level of mortality rate, has a mortality rate. Fact of the matter, it does. Now, I've seen kind of a gambit of different versions of the virus and how it's affected people. I've actually had a friend that had some mild symptoms and has recovered and is feeling pretty good. That friend's spouse also came back positive and hasn't had any symptoms since, or they've been very, very mild and completely unnoticeable compared to any, we'll call it a comorbidity right now. That friend knows who, those friends know who they are. So that hasn't been a problem. He's had another friend who lost a spouse to the current event right now. We'll just call it what it is. I don't think this video is going to monetize anyway. Who cares? COVID-19. That's what we're worried about. So there have been people close to me and close to our Vegas community here that have been affected. Some have gotten away pretty much scot-free. Others have not. I had a former coworker of mine. She's been on about 4 or 5 times. Unfortunately, she's lost 4 family members, a few of them elderly, a few of them middle-aged, so pretty young still. And, there's a mortality rate to it. That's just fact of the matter. And any mortality rate is a bad mortality rate. Even if it's like 1%, that's still going to be someone, everybody would lose somebody. Period. And that's unfortunate. That's sad. So I guess it's just a question of what is more dangerous, the virus or the inability to take care of your family. So that's kind of a tough thing here. It's really kind of tough to figure out. GF frequent in Vegas right now, pretty busy but not packed. That's good to know. So Vegas is still alive right now. All right, only 2 CVP on vent. That's good. So Jerry actually is holding things down over there. TVP, good to see you, man. Glad you made it into the live chat. But yeah, that's some good news from Trinity Healthcare out there in Michigan. I like to see that. So, and VBI is still quarantined at home, and they're doing really well there too, so that's good. So even mitigating any exposure, that's been a good thing. So that's part of the reason it could stay closed. Now, part of the reason it could stay open is maybe there hasn't been a lot of contact tracing back to the casinos. So as far as I know, there haven't been any outbreaks at casinos, and they are tracking these outbreaks. So out in Colorado where I live, they've actually traced a few Chick-fil-A restaurants actually to some spikes in cases and some outbreaks, and a few of them actually close to home have had to close as a result. And, until they can get cleaned up, and I'm sure they have some other standards they have to meet because they're a restaurant and not a casino, and I'm sure they have the money to do it. I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure Chick-fil-A will reopen. But it's just kind of fascinating to go through all the factors over here. So that said, I'm trying to figure out what do you really do about it? Now, there's some correlation here. There was a swell in cases around June 4th and the weeks after, where Nevada increased its numbers. I think this last Tuesday they had about 28 deaths reported, which is horrible. That was like 20. Just that day, it was 28 deaths just from this whole thing, which is horrible. I think any number of deaths from something preventable is horrible, and I don't like that. And then it happened Wednesday too. Before in May, I guess we're getting like 14 deaths a day was on the high end, which is still too many if you ask me for something like this. But I'm not the infectious disease expert. Maybe we're lucky in this case. I don't know. I'm just not fond of any loss of life, especially any loss of life that I believe could have been prevented. Like I said, I'm not an infectious disease doctor. I can't say if it could have been prevented. I feel like it's preventable, but that's just an arbitrary feeling, and that's not based on scientific fact. So don't take that as scientific fact. I am not the authority on this, just me personally expressing an opinion. Just want that to be really clear. And unfortunately, most of the positive cases in Nevada have been in Clark County, which just so happens to host the Las Vegas Strip and then quite a bit of downtown as well too. So, between Paradise, Nevada, and actual Las Vegas. So it's a little tough. You know what I mean? And it's rough times. It's just rough times in general. I mean, we've got people drowning in the Bellagio fountains. That was an unfortunate thing that PJ brought up. Another terrible loss of life. So I guess there's a question of what they're going to do with the Bellagio fountains. I mean, it's kind of a one-off sort of thing. I think that's kind of a one-off sort of thing. I don't think that's going to be a major thing, but still any loss of human life, especially something like that I'm hoping could have been preventable, whether it was through better mental health care or, just, less conflict, that sort of thing. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, TVP, I have no idea what happened. I guess the guy just kind of jumped in. I read a brief article, but it was earlier in the day, and the sheriff hadn't released much information about it, so, it was just kind of weird. I don't know. But, yeah, so Vegas saw some spikes in cases. Fact of the matter. Now, can we contract trace it back? Like I said, in our small community, we did have some positive cases in our small Vegas community even, and it can't necessarily be traced back to Vegas, I'll say. I did have direct contact with someone who did positively test for COVID in the last few weeks recently. Now, I tested negative. When I went to go get my test, I tested negative. So I'm not sure if they got that in their hometown or if it was something they picked up in Vegas or what have you. The contact tracing is off. Contact tracing is just kind of a nightmare in the first place, because you got to figure out, well, where's it really coming from? Have you traveled? Have you talked to anybody? Have they traveled? Where did they travel to? How soon? And sometimes you don't always have all that information, so it's rough. So, it's weird. And trying to figure out the whole thing is just really difficult. So, the whole big thing with the Vegas problem is it might not necessarily even be from Vegas that the spikes could be coming from. It could be coming from anywhere else in the country. If you're flying in from California or driving in from California, which also has had some pretty big spikes, and they've done some rollbacks. A lot of Vegas visitors come from California. I believe the percentage was 25% or something like that. And it's so it could all just be imported COVID. We don't know. Or at least I don't know, and I haven't found a source that tells me otherwise. So if you guys have a source on that, feel free to go ahead and let me know. Let me know the title of the article. I will link that stuff, and then we will keep good track of that. Matrix actually has another good answer, or a good interesting point over here. It baffles me how you guys have 50 states doing their own thing. Those states can cross boundaries and take their attitudes with them. You need a blanket white ruling that everyone should follow. It would be a lot easier, that's kind of the thing about the United States. We're still kind of a loose confederation of states in some ways, and then a union in other ways too. Like, it's supposed to be kind of a tiered system, but sometimes the tier system goes the other way. Like, you can have a national regulation and it doesn't apply at the state level, or vice versa. So it gets a little weird, and I think that's probably part of it. So some counties require a mask. Like in Colorado, masks are a mandated state requirement now. Now in Nevada, masks are a mandated state requirement. Other parts of the country, they are not. Texas, for a while, it wasn't a big thing, and it wasn't being enforced. So, if you have visitors from Texas, Hog and Tucson excluded, because they definitely wore their masks. They're looking out for everyone else's health. They're looking out for their health. They're looking out for their family's health. So they figure, even if it reduces probability by 2%, I'm sure there's going to be an argument somewhere in the live chat like, oh, masks don't do anything, masks do. But you know what? Even if it reduces the probability by 2%, that's 2%. That's a 2% chance more likely that you're going to save a life. So why not? I say. See, Cindy's got a good point over here in the live chat, too. Ohio just mandated masks last night. So if you're flying in from Ohio, masks weren't mandated, and you might not have been really consistent with your mask there because the casinos can't babysit everybody 24/7. Well, hey, there you go. That could be an issue, you know? Yeah, Cali's had mandated masks for a while too, so that's another good point. Although they've still seen a spike in cases. Also, we saw spikes in cases when people were getting out of lockdown, when quarantine levels were lifted, when you were going from phase 0 up to phase 1, up to phase 2. Nevada's kind of like in a phase 1.5. They had to roll back some things to phase 1 restrictions versus the casinos are available in phase 2, which I thought was kind of funny because originally Sisolak was thinking, casinos might be phase 3. They might be phase 4. I can't do a Sisolak impression. He doesn't have a very distinctive voice. It's just kind of a deep politician voice. Like, well, these are the issues here. We're concerned about such and such. Wear your mask, please. He's kind of a boring public speaker, and he's terrible on stream. I'll tell you what. I'm not great on stream, but he's pretty terrible on stream. Like he's really bad. So that's another thing. But yeah, I kind of wanted to, now that you guys have a good kind of understanding of what's kind of going on over there. I mean, the whole big Vegas problem is that, Vegas is kind of a hard place to keep that all together because you don't know where anyone's coming from. People are in and out. It's kind of a transient town. So people are in and out, moving in and there and moving out of there, and people are visiting. People visit Vegas for 3 days, then they just kind of take off without any presence. Some people come in there, you hit a hotel, yeah, sure, you show them your ID and all that, but you do everything cash. You can't really tell where anyone else has been, and then boom, you're out. So it's hard to keep up on. I mean, and no one's talking about casinos right now, as far as I know. Sisolak, I thought, was supposed to speak yesterday, and I couldn't find anywhere that he had spoken. So, no one knows if they're going to shut anything down. I do know that Jim Murin is on the task force. I'm trying to remember which task force he's on. He's supposed to be on the Nevada coronavirus task force. So I believe that's the governor's task force there. And he's going to be pulling for at least his boys at MGM Grand. Just saying. He's pulling for his boy Bill Hornbuckle over there. Old Jimmy is. So that's how it's going to be. Just saying. So I don't think the casinos are going to go down, or at least I don't think they're going to go down entirely. They'll probably keep it open to some capacity, but I guess the other question is, how soon are they going to reopen the rest of the casinos? How soon are they going to reopen the nightclubs? How soon are they going to start doing bar service again? I don't know. It's just it's a really dicey issue right now. So I wanted to go ahead and see what everyone else's opinions are. I've kind of been babbling for 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and address a couple things in the live chat. So let me go ahead and see here. So Matrix, so it's Kev coming all the way from England over there, jolly old England, coming at us on a Friday. Appreciate you. So Matrix saying, by the way, I literally have no idea how it works over there. Just speaking from a teeny weeny country that seems to agree on the greater good. Yeah, there are fewer. I think that's a big thing over there. Is in the UK and France and all, like France is roughly twice the size of Nevada, so there are a lot fewer. There's not a lot of space over there physically. And obviously England, I think, is about the size of Georgia, if I remember correctly, just like the UK, the island of the UK is the size of Georgia. So it's probably a lot easier to kind of corral everyone, get everybody on that same page over there. I think everybody hates the prime minister over there, which, fair enough. Out here, we can't even agree on if we hate the president or not. I remember back in the 90s, we all used to hate the president. That was just how it was. Nobody liked him. And nowadays, it's a super divisive thing. Or maybe I'm just kind of looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. I don't know. So, but yeah, America's it's a huge country. There are like 330 million of us out here. So it's hard to get everybody to agree on something, nevertheless actually follow through on it. And it really doesn't take that many people to change things up a little bit. Next we have Jerry, and Jerry actually does know a lot about healthcare because she works in healthcare there. CDC admitted antibody tests can be CV or common cold because they're all the same family of coronavirus. So they're just counting the positive antibodies, which I'm sure is probably all they can do right now. if I'm trying to be logical about this, like they get a positive test, it could be, I mean, it could be that. I guess they're just kind of erring on the side of caution. So if it's a lot of the stuff, it could be common cold, and that's just going to go away. If it's a mild case of CV, it's going to go away too. But then they're still trying to contact trace it as best they can. So it might be a little inflated, but we don't know. And the models the models always err on the side of catastrophe. That's how these models are supposed to be. That's mathematical how these models are supposed to be, from what I understand. So it's hard to tell if these levels are inflated and all that. It's just kind of tough to tell. When is Spicy Sislak's next press conference? Yeah, good old Scuba Steve Sisilak there. We don't know when he's coming through. I don't have anything against him personally. I just think Sissy Quack is a funny little name. It's a funny name. It really is. We don't know when he's coming through. I thought it was supposed to be this last Thursday, yesterday, but apparently not so much, so we're going to see what happens here. Let me see. Heidi's in Michigan, Detroit. All right. Oh, y'all talking about the Bellagio over here. This is pretty wild. All right. Phil is hoping that it stays open. He's going to be there August 7th to the 10th, hoping it stays open there. Yeah, definitely. Let's go ahead and, fingers crossed. Hopefully we're going to see, I don't know, maybe a plateau and kind of see the cases drop off there. I'm not sure how herd immunity works. Again, I'm not an infectious disease, physician or anything like that, or that I'm not that type of scientist. I know physics. I don't do microbiology like that. So I couldn't tell you, but, hopefully, I don't think they're going to do anything drastic in the next couple weeks, but I could be wrong. Pop-up fishing. Let's put Mayor Carolyn Goodman in charge of COVID. Yes. Did you guys see that awful interview she did with Anderson Cooper? I really feel bad for her because Andy knows how to. He goes straight for the jugular every time. That guy is a savage. And if you are not prepared for him, if you are not prepared for at least 90% of possible questions he could ask you, he's just gonna go straight for the neck every single time. One slash. You're bleeding out. That's how it is, metaphorically, of course. I don't think he actually violently attacks people. At least I hope he does not. Who knows? He's a news reporter, so you never know. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think she can be on the task force, but I think Jim Murin is doing a very good job of saying exactly what she said, and I'll leave it at that. Let's see, VBI. Canada takes things very seriously. Mandatory 14-day quarantine, no matter what, even if you test negative. The police showed up to our house to make sure. True, yeah, the Mounties came through. And yeah, I found that fascinating too. So, I talked to my boss after I flew out too. I'm like, hey, bro, you want me to go ahead and work remote for the rest of the day, or what do you want me to do? And he's like, no, we'll see you Monday. Like, okay, are you sure? I can work remote. No, we'll see you Monday. All right, that's fine. So there wasn't a mandatory quarantine or anything. I'm not sure if it's because we're considered essential workers or anything like that, or what have you. But it's something pretty wild. I don't know. So I think not having that blanket quarantine. I think if I had to quarantine or work from home or whatever from Vegas, it probably wouldn't have been as big a deal, and I wouldn't have had to worry about it quite as much. It would have just been making sure that we keep the family safe and all that. So. Oh, Richard Wilk came through on the live chat. Richard, good to see you here. And Wonder Woman came through in the house too. Wonder Woman, good to see you, baby. All right, but Richard Wilk came through on the live chat, and he says, living in a state that's supported by casinos is very tough to close down again. Plus, small businesses are supported by casino employees through the valley. Not enough tourists, unfortunately. That's another good point there. Nevada also has the highest unemployment rates in the country. I think it's something absurd. I think the best it's been recently has been something crazy like 28%. That means if you throw a rock at 4 people, or if you throw 4 rocks, all right, let me try this one more time. So if you got a group of 4 people and you chuck a rock over, I don't know, 1 in 4 people that you throw a rock at will not have a job. Let's just say that. I'm not sure why you're throwing rocks at people. Stop throwing rocks at people. You're being a jerk. Stop it. But, yeah, no, it's unprecedented, really, and we haven't really seen that for a while, and it's not like the 2008 recession, like the Great Recession of 2008 when we had the credit crunch and all that, because it's not like Vegas, because back then Vegas was open. You could come to Vegas. For a while there, Vegas was just closed. and you physically could not go. I believe tourism was down 97% in April and May, and obviously with a closed state, yeah, obviously tourism is going to be down. But comparatively speaking, that means, if you're down 97% of people, if everyone's spending $100 there, and you get 100 people normally spending $100, yeah, that's $10,000. But if you only get like 3 people coming in, that's only $300. You're not going to be able to live for a month on $300 unless you live in the Philippines. This is not Philippines. Case in point. So yeah, that makes it really tough. So I guess the real question is, what's doing the most harm right now? Is it the physical threat, or is it the economic threat? And I don't think there's a good answer to that. I think it is a good balance. There's definitely a balance. And the question is, what can be done to balance out one issue or another? Obviously, physically, you'd need like a vaccine or herd immunity or some form of protection. That's why we have the masks out there, to add that additional protection. So it's kind of balancing that out. And then economically, you do have to allow something to come through. So that's why they're doing things in phases. Like, okay, phase 1, you can have bars open, you can have restaurants open, and that's opening up so much of the economy there. Is it worth it always? Not necessarily. Some revenue sometimes isn't as good as no revenue at all. Sometimes it's better not to have any revenue. I can't think of very many instances where that's true, but it's kind of rough, It's a tough time. It's a tough time. So it's a good point by Richard right there. Let me see if I can catch up to the live chat there. Appreciate you guys. And Richard coming through, giving me that good recommendation. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Let me see what else is going down. Only at the D. Can't tread routing. Y'all still talking about this guy in the in the Bellagio fountains? I shouldn't laugh about that. It's actually really sad. It's terribly depressing. I'm not sure why I was laughing. I have this weird nervous laugh, and this whole conversation is a little depressive. Sentiment. Got a lot of question if Vegas is worth going to now. I think it's still great. I will keep going till California won't let me leave. Yeah, I think Vegas is still a good time to go. It's very reminiscent of kind of old school Vegas. I don't think it's a good place for casuals right now. I don't think they're gonna enjoy it. Like, if I call, honey, you still decent? Never mind. I'm not gonna do that. If I go shout at my spouse right now and tell her, honey, do you want to go to Vegas? She'll probably be like, not right now. I'm not sure if she's gonna be on it because of the concern about flying, or if it's going to be more about there's just not going to be a lot for her to do, because she doesn't gamble, she doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, anything like that. Like, I think I've shared like 6 alcoholic beverages with her over the course of 3 years, and maybe 1 or 2 CBD edibles or something like that, or THC edibles. I don't know. She's just not a big substance person. She just kind of enjoys herself. Oh man, and Stan the man coming through with that super chat, $20, showing that love. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, Stan's been supporting me since the very beginning, since I started doing this back in 2018. Actually, I think I released a couple of videos in 2017 just for giggles, but that was at the end of the year, so I call it 2018. So thank you for doing that, man. I appreciate you. Always coming through. Let's see. Essential. Okay, Cindy. Here's an interesting point. I'm an essential worker. Worked all through this. My husband passed away unexpectedly in April. Oh God, Cindy, I'm so sorry about that. Hopefully it wasn't from the. Well, I mean, there's no good reason to pass. I'm very, very sorry to hear that. I do think absolutely gotta take some time off. I mean, that's a big mental health thing, and I think that's another thing. Steven from Not Leaving Las Vegas kind of covered that in his video today too. Not to step on his toes, but I highly recommend it. I thought it was a pretty good thing, like taking care of your own mental health through this whole thing too. So I can only imagine like the physical toll, the economic toll, and now also the mental health toll too. Because that's the thing about humans. We are social creatures. You can be introverted, you can be a little bit of a shut-in, whatever, but you still need some social interaction. It's still good to have social interaction, just to a certain level. Sometimes it's exhausting to get that good fellowship and that good positive interaction there, but any which way, it's kind of built into our DNA. We're just social creatures. I mean, that's the whole reason we have cities and towns and villages and all that, is because it was easier for child rearing. That's fact of the matter. That's just how it was. That's what I learned in my biology course way back in college. So that's at CU, social liberal Republican Democratic education or whatever. I don't even know what kind of school they are. All I know is that they taught evolution in science, and that was fine with me. So good stuff. Richard, if the 14-day quarantine is still there in October in Canada, I'm canceling my trip. No Circa opening for me. Richard, you got to come through, man. You still got to come through. Push for it. It'll be worth it. A vaccine in time for Circa would be sweet. Hey, I'm fingers crossed on it. I think I'm still going to go. I know the missus is holding off. She might not even come with me in our annual December trip. We'll see how the numbers are looking. If the numbers are looking pretty good, then we might still go. Otherwise, I might make it like a quick 2-day trip just to get a couple of vlogs in and do that. And also appreciate all you guys coming in with those thumbs up over there. Aside from Kino, now JK, Kino was amazing. I got to meet him for the first time in Vegas, and actually when I was meeting Richard Wilk and everybody else down there in July, and he is just such a cool guy. Like we need to get him to 1,000 subscribers, so he'll start posting some shit. So, man. Responsibility. Okay, so let's see. PJ, 5 tables open with 4 at a table instead of the regular 28 tables. No one's at the bar. Yeah, it's a rough time out there, just not seeing everybody in. Let's see. Who else? I'm trying to catch up with the live chat, guys. I'm a little behind. I apologize. Yeah, the trip is for him too. All right, Cindy, we're pulling for you, girl. We were right there with you. All right, Richard. Hey, thanks for coming by, too. And I keep skipping over Gord's comment. The trouble is that the government nor a business can completely control human behavior. It's very complicated. Nevada is the only state in the scenario. Oh, your God. Texas, knock, knock. Hey, that's how it is. Let's see. End of the day, we're fighting an enemy that no one can answer for. Vaccine is not a cure of deadly virus given your body. Yep. That's what it really comes down to. So trying to figure out the cure thing, it's going to be rough stuff. Yeah, I was saying if I could, I got to save some time off though. I do have some family stuff coming up in August, so I got to save some time off. And I'm gonna come out there and see you, bud. We're gonna make a trip. Oh, did Dice come through? Dice Sniper 55. Good to see you, bud. Glad you came through. Don't want to play blackjack with Richard's help. It's all good. Hey, Richard helps us out in other ways. Richard helps us out in other ways. He is a great host, like best host. I'll tell you what. And it doesn't matter how much you're spending. He comes through for you, and I think that's amazing. Vegas Slot Stars has some interesting information. You can take her to a bunch of places still. The Mob Museum, the Neon Museum, Ethel M. Chocolate Factory, 7 Magic Mountain. I can go on and on. Yo, 1,000 likes for Vegas Slot Stars over here. I appreciate you guys coming through on that. Thank you, because that's actually really interesting information there. I didn't think about a lot of stuff off strip. I was just thinking about her her zoo trips and like the shark reef and all that. Maybe getting a massage in at the spa, that sort of thing. That's the stuff I'm thinking about. But the missus is becoming very creative with her comp requests, so we're gonna come up with something nice for her. Gwen went to the local casino, couldn't even get on the blackjack table without waiting. Just can't with that. I feel you, sis. I feel you. Yeah, I'm not about that too. We didn't have to wait too long to get through. So. Yeah, Gord, that's a kind of a tough thing. People in the U.S. are very proud of their freedom. However, there's a personal responsibility to inform yourself. Yeah, I think it's a need versus want thing. I, too, am very proud of my freedom here. I think it's really great that you should be able to say whatever you want, as long as it's not, like, obscene or violent, that sort of thing. Like, you can't say, F the Jews or anything like that. That's really gross, and I think it should be legal to punch somebody in the face for that. But, for better or worse, it is, it's not legal. You can't punch somebody in the face even if they say something awful like that. I think in some instances it's helpful. Like you can't punch someone in the face for saying, let's say for example, fuck the police, because it's their opinion. It's just an opinion. So as long as it's not hurting anybody, it's not a big deal. So that's kind of interesting. I always thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, we do love our freedoms over here, but there does have to be a limit. There has to be, the limit is when you're encroaching on someone else's freedom. That's when it comes down to. So when you're encroaching on someone else's freedom, you're not exercising your freedom, you're oppressing their freedom. That's my personal opinion on that. You don't have to accept it. That's fine. I just very, very much, I love being an American sometimes. there's some things that my fellow Americans do that embarrass me. And unfortunately, I have to say that there are certain hate groups that are still Americans, and it embarrasses me to say that they are Americans. So I'll say that. I'm proud of being an American, but there are a lot of things that America permits and that certain Americans do with their freedom that I find incredibly embarrassing. So, like I said, hate groups is kind of the big thing. But anyway, I'm off my soapbox. Let's keep talking Vegas. Let's keep talking Vegas here. Because that's what I do love about Vegas, too, is it's a really big part of, it's part of, being an American and enjoying the freedom to go. Yeah, exactly. Norm is 100% right. It's all about respect. Enjoy your freedom. Definitely get on that. Oh, Destiny, thanks for coming by. Glad you came through. Didn't see you come in because Dice Sniper snuck in too. I'm missing all these people in the live chat. But yeah, Norm is 100% right. It is about respect. If you are going to, exercise your freedom for sure, but you can't encroach in on somebody else's freedom. I think it's pretty reasonable, right? Yep. Life is 100%. Respect goes both ways. You have to, you got to respect everyone else's freedom and they have to respect yours. And I think that's kind of a thing that we might be missing out on a little bit over here. Oh man, ketchup chips. Love those ketchup chips. Gord, I think you need to smuggle some more of those across the border for me. So, all right. But yeah, what do you guys think here? So do you guys think Vegas is due to close? Do you think it can stay open? What can we do to help it stay open? What do you guys think? Freedom ends where mine begins. Yep, pretty much. It's just like everyone else's yard. You can do whatever you want in your yard. You just can't do anything in my yard. You're free to use your yard, and that's great. You've got to treat everybody with respect. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing that gets us through this all pandemic over here. Yo, Gord, hey, we appreciate that. But yeah, we're going to need some more of those ketchup chips, by the way. Oh, Jen brought up something interesting. Our casinos in Ontario won't open. Jen, do they have a specific reason for that? Are they holding on to that for a specific reason? Or Ray, actually, you're in Canada too. I know the ports are still closed. Are they holding off on letting you guys cruise out of Canada, or is it just the casinos? And if so, why? If you have a second to drop it in the live chat, bro, I appreciate you. And you too, Jen. I appreciate that too, sis. And now we're just talking about ketchup chips in the chat. I love this place. Good deal. I love it. Baconator Pringles. I could use some of those. Okay, so Gwen Lewis in the live chat, she says they will stay open. Maybe some of the hotels that were failing anyway will close. That's that's a good point there, because if you're hurting as a casino, it might just be time to kind of shut down. I thought it was kind of fascinating that a few casinos haven't opened, like Park MGM, where they spent a lot of money, or alternately Mirage, where that's kind of a flagship property of MGM, hasn't reopened, even post this. Now, I heard a rumor that Mirage was getting a lot of upgrades, but we don't know. That's just the rumor I've heard. So hopefully, maybe this might just be the time to kind of trim down a little bit. Maybe the culture of excess is a little too much in Vegas, and that's part of what's killing it. I mean, a lot of the industry is based around, everything's based around the casino. That's fact of the matter. It's like a real ecosystem. If you killed a large bear in the woods, the wolves try to take over, or maybe the deer population grows out of control because there aren't enough bears scaring off the wolves and keeping the breeding populations in check and all that. Like, everything affects everything else, Like, you get a dinosaur rooting around in the swamp, and it changes the water flow, kills a lot of the plants. All the herbivores that depend on those plants die off. Then the carnivores that depend on eating those herbivores, they die off too. So, that sort of thing. That sort of thing happens. Or we theorize it happens. So, and Vegas is actually a really great model of that. The casinos are the apex predator, and without that, a lot of the other smaller beings aren't able to kind of eat, can't graze, anything like that, and the ecosystem kind of shuts down. It all collapses. So it's just a question of, is it worth saving the ecosystem to save another one, the real life ecosystem? It's crazy. It's really really confusing. So there's just a lot. There's just a lot to kind of take in mind. Hey, Lynn, great to see you. And Gambling Granny came through. All right, great to see you. Let's see, because the limit allowed in is only 50 people and no cruises. So Ray is saying no cruises out of Canada. That's a shame. And Jen's saying that the reason in Canada that they're not allowed to open, or that they're not opening the casinos, is because the limit's too low. They can only have 50 people there. I can't imagine how much money you'd be making if you had 50 people. Maybe it was 50 high rollers, but not to have everyone else in there. I can see how that'd be kind of weird. Yeah, no conventions, no foreign tourists, and unemployment benefits coming to an end. It's going to be rough out there in Vegas, guys. It's going to be rough. Look at Dice coming through, getting that supper from Gambling Granny. I love it. I just love it. Good deal. Awesome. Thanks for coming by, Lynn. We appreciate you. You enjoyed dinner. MA63, America's in trouble if the fat cats in Vegas can't even handle the loss. I mean, some of them can, some of them can't. Sheldon Adelson came through. Phil Ruffin, he was clutching his purse strings over there. So it's kind of interesting. I'm wondering what the mentality is. I don't know a lot of those guys personally. I mean, some guys, you make your cuts, whatever. It's just a question of how, how vocal you are about it or how deliberate you are about it. Like Derek Stevens, for example, he was pretty quiet about the whole thing. I think he just did what he had to do to keep his business afloat. He owns the D and the Golden Nugget, or not the Golden Nugget, excuse me, Golden Gate, I meant to say, and the up-and-coming circuit there. So, it was interesting. It's just been weird. Gord has another good comment over here. You were there in July with us. Things have changed more with people around us affected by this. Will you return again in the next few months, or will that trigger your decision to go back? I think I'm still going to come through for the Circa opening. I think, just for me, or if I was meeting friends, for sure. I'm not sure if I'd do a solo trip right now, though. I'm not super hyped about a solo trip just because I was having so much trouble at the tables, just trying to get into the tables and breaking even. And I had a really rough time on the machines. I like to gamble, but, it's not my entire thing. I also like to hit the pool. I like to float in the lazy river. I like to have drinks and all that. I like to go to shows. I really like shows, especially burlesque shows. That's actually kind of I guess you can say a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, but I love burlesque shows, very artistic and all that, and I'm not seeing any of those, and it's a shame. I really do enjoy the shows. That's another big thing for me, so that's another big draw of Vegas. And without a lot of my big draws to Vegas, I can't see myself making long trips. Maybe just like a day or two here and there, but I can't imagine doing like big trips right now. It's going to be tough. Now, Laurel's got another one, postponing the December trip. People are too freaked out. Worthing Healthcare in rural America. We're noticing numbers aren't adding up. Wash your hands and social distance. 100% wash those hands. Keep those hands clean. I love that antiseptic technique. That is great advice from a scientist. Thank you, ma'am. Terry's got some good, cruises from Canada generally and in the U.S. So, yeah, I see that. I see what you mean. MA63, that's what Vegas gets for taking my money and gambling. Hey man, those casinos are made of gold, man. Those are gold windows at the Mirage. I mean, they don't build those off of losers, but I feel you. Now, I felt that way before too. I sure hope everything is back to normal by Labor Day. This is from Terry. If I had to cancel the trip, it would be a 4-day trip to Vegas. The 4th trip to Vegas this year we've had to cancel. That's horrible. I feel you, though. I understand with the economic uncertainty. Palomino Club current count as burlesque. I mean, it kind of did, I guess, but since they're a bar, they're closed right now, so you can't come through and do that. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough to figure out. Light and the Tripper, nice. Oh man, don't need those kinds of chips. We need all the chips. Save as many lives as possible, fix everything else later. Yeah, right. I mean, that's what it kind of comes down to. I guess I always kind of wondered what a hard reboot of the economy would look like. I assume they did one, like, they'll have to do one in the future, just the way that, inflation works. I can only imagine what the American economy is going to look like in the year 3000. If I'm doing the calculations right, which I think I am, even $1 billion is going to be the equivalent of 1,000 in the distant future. So who knows? We'll have to get that figured out. Second, I get a vaccine, booking 5 cruises and a Vegas trip. Yo, Ray, let me know when that Vegas trip is, bro. I'll see you there. Might hit you up on a cruise, too. Got to take the missus on a cruise. So, for sure. All right, we're coming up on that 15-minute warning mark there, 100% Vegas YouTube. Oh, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate you. Oh, man. Now, that crown is for you, King. That crown is for you. I appreciate you. Man. So I do love this community. You guys are so supportive, and I gotta admit, I was looking through the comments over here. There's no argument in the comments. Everyone's respecting everybody else's opinion. Everyone's stating their opinion. There's nothing hateful being said. There's nothing, it's nothing violent, no threats or anything like that. I love it. This is great. Thank you all for doing Hey, Vegas Fanatic came through. Good to see you. Almost missed you there. But no, this has been a great conversation. Everyone's been very, very balanced and very considerate of everyone else's opinions and all that. This has been wonderful. So, good times. All right, so JK's got, hey, it's got the first promo from Wynn, 2 nights midweek for $220, but offset by $150 and resort credits. Is it a good deal? Need to crutch midweek for Wynn? Yeah, because if it's $150 in resort credits, that's your food. That's your drinks and all that good type of stuff. If you break that down, that's like $70, but that's $35 a night. Now, if you're not paying resort fees, that's a steal. If you are paying resort fees, you're basically just getting your resort fees back in food credit. So, I mean, that's about average. I'd say $220 seems kind of average. But if you're not paying resort fees on that, that's a steal. Jump on it, JK. Just saying. $70 for 2 nights, I'd get it. I am the math. No, JK. Jerry's got a good question there. Hope Bacchanal still opens. Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah, a lot of people are saying good deal. Ron Bender, good question here. Doesn't MGM Resorts make a lot of money from the My Vegas apps? Yes and no. Oh, shoot. JK says that includes resort fees. Yeah, jump on that shit, bro. Pardon my French, but jump on it for sure. I am not like Beautiful Mind Dice. All right, but yeah, let me get back to Ron's question. Ron actually did ask a very good question. Doesn't MGM Resorts make a lot of money from the My Vegas apps? Yes and no, because here's the thing. All they're really doing most of the time, it's kind of like, it's like asking, does MGM Resorts make a lot from the hosts? And I think it's more of a traffic building sort of thing. Now, granted, they've been at it for 8 years, so obviously if they haven't been making some money based on the traffic they've gotten from My Vegas, and I'm sure they can track that because they know when someone's redeemed a reward. They know if a stay is comped based on the reward, if it's based on regular M Life comps or what have you. They know how much you've played. They know how much you spend and all that. So let's go ahead and assume that you say that you're going to spend $1,000 on a Vegas trip. Let's break it down to something simpler. Let's do a room rate over here. So let's say that you're doing a room. Room's normally $100 a night, right? And then plus, I don't know, $45 in resort fees. So you're going to be making they'd be taking $145 in. Now, on average in the casino or the hotel industry, it's about a 70% markup or 70% of the price is markup, one of the two. Let's assume 70% of the price is markup. That means it's only about $30 for them to have that room. So it only costs them $30 to get that $145. Let's assume that you got the Mirage 3-night My Vegas comp. All that's costing MGM is $90 to give that to you. And then you got to factor in the $40 resort fees times 3. That's $120. So they've already made $30 on you just off of that. But you still saved a lot of money. They still made money. You still saved money. So everybody's happy there so far. So that means that instead of having to pay, let's say, $300 plus the extra $120 in resort. So instead of having to pay $420, $420 blaze it. That's a joke. Actually, it's not a joke. Whatever. It's not something I do, but yeah, if you're about it, hey, no hate. Everyone's 21 and up adult here, so that's cool. Do your thing. As long as it's legal where you are, do your thing. So instead of spending $420, you only spent $120. That means you have $300 to gamble with. Assuming that there's about a 10% hold on your $300, there's another. So that means they made $60 off of you just by waving something for free in your face over there. And if it keeps going like that, then yeah, they're definitely still going to make money on it. Maybe not quite as much money, but they'll still make money from you. What is that last joke? Hold up. I almost missed it. Gord, is it just me or is Ace of Vegas math skill sexy? This guy is just Vegas business savvy. You can let us know if we're getting screwed or getting a good deal. Hey man, I'm happy to help you guys out. No, I want everybody to get a good deal. I don't want the casinos to close. I like going to the casinos, and you know what? Even if I'm getting a good deal, they'll still treat me like a king, like the Ace. I feel really good about it. So I guess, Ron, to answer your question, yeah, My Vegas is making money. They're probably not making as much money as they would just doing what they normally would. But, it's creating a brand. and it's bringing people back, and and I'm 100% certain it's coming out of the marketing budget, because this is what they do anyway. You spend so much in slots, they offer you a room. This is just a faster way to do it. So, and I'm sure it's coming out of the same marketing budget. They probably have a budget for it, and they're seeing how much people are spending. I mean, I saved probably like $400 on my last trip. Physically, I probably spent $400 on my last trip, or $500 on my last trip, but I won so much money that it offset that. So I ended up only having to take $200 out of pocket, but I spent enough over by the properties. Like, I gave them $50 for dinner and a beer. Then I gave them another like $30-$40 for dinner and a beer over at New York. So I'm spending like, $60, $70, $80 a day on food, in addition to the what about buying chips in the app? No, Ron, actually that goes to Play Studios. That is to support them, because they have to pay for their servers. I'm sure MGM has a sponsorship or something like that. There's probably some money exchange somewhere in there, but that's to pay for their servers, and to pay for their reps, and pay for their customer support, and pay for my sponsor, who actually gives me the chips to do the videos there. So awesome. I appreciate you guys coming through. Oh yeah, Donna, watching. Are you guys watching Gambling Granny? You should, absolutely. Gambling Granny is an excellent channel there. Love that. So absolutely watch those videos. And thank you to Gwen too. She loves the podcast interviews there. Happy to do that. love doing those. Yeah, see, Cinnamon loves getting free rooms through My Vegas. And Cinnamon, you say you never win money in the MGM casinos, like at Mandalay Bay, anything like that, but you still come back. And it's just because, they're offering the free stuff. You figure, hey, I may as well take advantage of that. I mean, I've had hosts tell me, hey, you know what, take advantage of it. If you win, you win. You lose, whatever. We'll go ahead and bring you back again, and then see if we can get some more of your money. It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. I think it's a good thing, and people enjoy it. All right, guys, last 5 minutes, so I'll probably see about opening a few things up over here. I think My Vegas and apps like that are probably going to help keep traffic coming to Vegas right now, especially if you're combining it with a lot of deals, because budget-conscious people, I think Jacob was mentioning it in one of his videos recently, budget-conscious weekend warriors are going to be the target demographic right now. Absolutely. And I have to also upvote Donna Manitou over here, Gambling Granny. You and your husband have me laughing out loud. He was so funny. He did great balance. Didn't talk the whole time. Did great on the camera work. Yep, exactly. And no, they do a great job. And like they kind of remind me of Hug and Toussaint. They have a really great chemistry. You loved seeing them together. I mean, obviously you guys are, they're married and all that, but it's just really great to see them together. And Dice has a great sense of humor too. So absolutely highly recommend Gambling Granny. In fact, you know what? I'm actually going to leave a link over here, Gambling Granny, YouTube. Let me go ahead and pull her up right quick over here. Arrives in Vegas in style, yes. Let me go ahead and pull up their channel here, and I'm going to leave a link. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Gambling Granny and Dice over here, I'm going to go ahead and say, boom, here we go. Check them out if you haven't already. So there's that. Gord's got another question over here too. Let me see. Did I miss any other? Okay, all right. So Gord's got a question. As the director of security at the Cosmo, what changes would you make to keep the Cosmo open? I think the Cosmo should be a little less stingy on their comps policy, because we spent money over there and haven't seen a lot. The Mario Marathon charity event next week. Had to mention that. Ray, tell me a little bit more about that here in the live chat here. I think that should be something that we promote, and maybe also promote in the small YouTubers group. I think we should talk about that offline too. But yeah, tell me more about that in the chat too. So yeah, definitely. As a security director at the at the Cosmo, I think we should be a lot less stingy about our comps policy for sure. I definitely think we should work more directly with the YouTubers. Maybe get a nice app. Maybe we should get a Cosmo slots here. That's what we should do. Cosmo slots and Cosmo Kino. And then we should invite more people that way. Then they can earn some free rooms and not make it pay to win like Wynn was. Wynn made it pay to win. So that's that. I do like Cosmo though. I really do enjoy them. I just kind of, yeah. I think if I got more comps with them, I'd probably hang out more over there. Just personal sort of thing. I like getting offered the comps. That's kind of what got me into Vegas first. Because my first trip wasn't my Vegas trip. I got, I was like 21, 22 or something like that. And then I got the director. I'm behind all of his ideas. I love it. I love it, though. But yeah, I like the idea of being offered something before you show up. Like, hey, I'm gonna offer you this. Yeah, come on down. They didn't have any pretense about gambling or anything like that, so that's kind of a big deal. Oh, Rampart Casino offers $5 for every 1,000 points. Also good to know, Vegas Slot Stars. I love that. And Vegas Fanatic, no, I do not have the new Stardust Slots app, but that sounds like it'll be a good plan. So I'm gonna have to check that out. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that Vegas is going to have to do, they're going to have to get a little more old school. They're going to have to really kind of loosen up on the comps a little bit. I know it's probably going to cost them a little bit on the front end, but then on the back end, they'll probably make it a lot more off of gambling and off of food and all that. Just, offer somebody a free room. Like, hey, here's a free room. And, the marketing director's already trying to do that. Guys like Richard, he's pretty balanced. He understands that the business has to turn a profit, but he also knows he has to attract customers, Usually the fight is the marketing side wants to give away the house, and the business side is like, no, stop that. This is our money. Stop it. So, I don't know. I think there's got to be a good balance. I think Richard's on to something, really, with helping out us vloggers, like our Vegas vloggers and Vegas tubers, getting us the exposure in there. And then, we can get him the exposure. We have a good time. We got our butts kicked in the slot pool that we did, but I'll tell you what. I've never had a better time just getting my ass kicked at slots, honestly. Because, we're hanging out in the high roller room, and they were running around. They're like, hey, here's whiskey. Like, awesome, cool. Let's run downstairs. And we just made a whole day of it. And it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, but you make your money on the back end. That's how it always works out. That's how it works in cell phone sales. I have a background in that too from when I was in college and all. So, and Gord's with me too. Yeah, always work it out on the back end. Give them something up front. Make them feel special, and that's where it comes from. It's that customer experience, especially in my generation, and I think the generation of most of my viewers. You like to. You just like that extra little something. It doesn't have to be big. It can be something as small as like, hey, thanks for coming back. Well, you made a great reservation over here. Here's, I'll tell you what. Here's an extra $50 off your bill over here. You and your lovely wife go have some breakfast. It's on me, boss. Thanks for coming through. That sort of stuff. I'll come downstairs. I'll gamble. I'll come downstairs in the restaurant. I'll spend money. Like, I don't mind doing that. I'll buy bottles. Whatever. It's a good time. I love that. That's a pity about the Stardust app there. Have to look in that. Okay, so Vacant Impossible playing old school Mario games for 36 hours straight. They raised over 600K in the last decade plus. I'm gonna have to get we're gonna have to do that. I think we're gonna have to get up on that. Maybe Smash Bros or something like that. All right, I'm gonna message you about this afterwards, Ray. I'm gonna hit you up. All right, let me see if I got anything else in the live chat over here. Oh, Matrix, did you channel your British accent right there? Totally agree. They need the footfall to get the back end moolah. Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that one, mate. Although I guess I sound a little Irish right here. Just a tut. I don't know. I also do British. I can do a little British. Tosser, fish and chips. Bloody hell. Yeah, Josh, I like that Super Smash Bros, bro. That's how we do. Spam at you all day. That's what we should do. We should do like a Vegas charity where we're just playing at the Luxor Gaming Arena. That'd be amazing. How many tested positive and how many were negative again? Pat, yeah. I know in our little groups, between Hog and 2 Cent and my group and TVP and Cinnamon and everybody, I think out of the lot of us, it was probably about 3 positive cases. Unfortunately, we did have someone pass rather recently. Thankfully, I think their burial expenses have been taken care of, so their spouse doesn't have to worry about it. And I'm really sad about that because I didn't get a chance to meet that person in person, but their spouse has been a really avid supporter and is just a wonderful person. And my heart really just kind of bleeds for them right now. I'm gonna protect their privacy right now. I'm not sure if they're really super public about it. They're trying to get a lot of affairs in order, and I'm really wishing them the best. But yeah, it's tough right now. So, oh, Josh, hey, thanks for that super chat. I appreciate you. A little bit of mood whiplash, but it's good to see that the community is still here and that we're still kind of rocking and all that. So that's a big thing. It's sad to hear, but it's good to see that for the most part the community is still in good shape. PJ is still doing his streams and all that. Thank you, PJ, for coming through, by the way. And yeah, so it's just a tough time. It's a tough time. JK, just FYI, if you do go out and do take a chip, yes, M Life is still offering the birthday free play at both Luxor and Excalibur. So just FYI. So yeah. But yeah, guys, and it is about 6:03, so I think I'm actually going to have to drop off right now. Sorry to leave it on a solemn note. I think Vegas is going to pull through. We're going to have to get really creative with the marketing, especially if more restrictions come back. I don't think Jim Murin is going to allow things to close. I don't think he is. Say what you will about Jim Murin, because God knows I have. I've definitely said some bad things about him, but you know what? He's definitely looking out for the casino half of things, and I think he's going to push on through. I think there are going to be some additional restrictions, and things are going to get interesting for a little while, but I think we're going to make it on through. So, all right, guys, yes, definitely stay strong, stay positive, stay healthy, please. Any amount of COVID deaths is an awful thing, and I hate to hear it's coming from my Vegas family. That's a heartbreak no matter what. But thank you all for supporting us and supporting everyone else in our community over here. And thank you to Jeff for supporting the beer fund over here. Mad super chat. Appreciate you all. So thanks for coming through. My Spinach and Sharks. So Ace of Vegas, I'm signing out. I'm wishing you guys all happy spinning, strong hands, and for the love of God, good health. Whether you choose to go to Vegas or not, stay healthy, because Vegas is going to be ready for us. Vegas is going to be ready for us when we're back to full capacity. If you choose to go, please stay safe. Please stay healthy. I don't want any more bad news, but I believe in all you guys. Everyone's very intelligent here. We have lots of well-educated people here, and I'm feeling the best for you guys. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for coming out tonight, especially on such short notice. Good night, everybody.